There are few rules for publishing. Focus on quality, be patient, listen to your editors, and think about timing. For example, publishing a children's book the month that your infamous brother's trial begins is not ideal. Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vuolo have done that very thing. The illustrated children's book could not be happening at a more awkward time, and fans are a little nauseated. So, we wrote a children's book. Jinger Duggar announced on Instagram alongside a photo of the cover. Every night as we put our girls to bed, she detailed. Jill shared that at night we open a book and read a story. It's become one of our favorite moments of the day. Jill wrote. Felicity loves hearing about all the different characters, she added. And Jill described of her youngest, Evie Jo loves the pictures. Having the opportunity to write this book for our girls, Jill wrote. And she emphasized, for children all over the world. Jill concluded by saying that all of this has been so fun and a dream come true. Elsewhere on social media, those who nervously watched the Duggar comings and goings were wincing. In light of recent events, this book just screams desperate attempt at fixing our image now that my brother-in-law will soon be convicted for downloading and possessing CSA, one wrote. The Redditor continued, I'm well aware of the fact that Jinger should not be dragged into her brother's mess, but it just seems very ill-timed. Another commenter observed, it's just really tone-deaf. Right now, the subject of children is just uncomfortable when it comes to the Duggars. It's not just Josh, which is why so many of his relatives fled Instagram following his arrest. Well, that was underwhelming, one wrote in response to Jinger's announcement. I just did the biggest eye roll, I hurt myself, another Reddit denizen wrote. Another commented, this is disturbing. Obviously, some are speculating about what the book might be like. Some may be curious enough to pre-order. Others might be leery of financially supporting anything that Jinger and Jeremy might do, and will just read up on it online. In Jinger and Jeremy's corner of society, most of what they do has some sort of agenda. That's not inherently bad. Many people are very purposeful in the stories that they tell and the art that they produce. But when you're a bad person with bad beliefs, that tends to bleed over into all that you create, even if your audience is children. Just last week, Jeremy said that Christians would soon be treated as criminals for believing as they do. That is ludicrous hogwash, but it's also dangerous because that kind of rhetoric can endanger actual religious minorities. 70% of Americans are Christians, and their religion is mentioned on money, in courthouses, and by every single president. Speaking of minority religions, Jeremy also recently asserted that there are only two religions. That's right to his twisted way of thinking, there's Christianity and everything else. While it's fine to have your own beliefs and very natural to prefer them, grossly mischaracterizing other faiths, especially minority faiths, is so disrespectful. In general, Jeremy and Jinger have a habit of hiding their worst beliefs to stay marketable. Did you know that Jeremy was a speaker at a recent anti-abortion rally that would force millions of Americans to give birth against their will? Strange that he didn't promote the gig, isn't it? But courting controversy could make it harder for them to market stuff like this children's book to followers. And that is why so many are, even without thinking of Josh, so leery of any story that Jinger and Jeremy might want to tell. Meanwhile, the added bad timing of Josh's trial, which has a hearing on November 18th and begins November 30th, magnifies their issues. It's not a good time to be a Duggar, but has there ever really been such a time?
That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to stay tuned.